Hey everyone, it's me, Lindsay. A lot of times when I post videos, they're more informational or how to, but I wanted to share a story with you about something that happened to me because I think it really relates to how we view our own projects, the things we like crochet or knit or sew, and a way to reframe your thoughts around your projects when you're maybe not quite thrilled with how it turned out. So, a long, long time ago, like 2010, the Crochet Guild of America had a design contest. And you could send in an item that you had created and designed, and they had judging and prizes and everything. So in 2010, I submitted a bag I had made, and it got honorable mention in that category. And I was super stoked. So I totally wanted to do something even bigger and more amazing. So for 2012, I decided I was going to make a cardigan. And I had a vision. Like, I knew what this awesome piece was going to look like. I knew what yarn I wanted to use. I contacted the yarn company. They agreed to supply the yarn. It was going to be a cardigan top down, but instead of baggy raglan sleeves, it was going to have set in sleeves worked from the top down, and would have contrasting colored bands and an opening in the middle for like an open cardigan and maybe some beaded detail. And I was super stoked and excited about this project. So, what it's like. You're starting a new project and you're super, super excited, and then you get into it and it's hard, especially when you're not following a pattern because you're making it up yourself. So I started working on it and I was making progress, but it just wasn't looking as great as I had hoped. It had the bands and sleeves were working, but it looked kind of plain. I couldn't get the beaded detailing to work out. I decided the gap in the front was too large, but I didn't have enough time to restitch it. So I decided to put like some embroidery on it. Turns out embroidery is super hard. So by the time I finished that cardigan, I don't think I actually cried, but I kind of wanted to cry or like crawl into a hole and disappear because I was embarrassed. I really was. Because the yarn company had provided the yarn, I felt like I should still send it so that they get like the name recognition of like their yarn's name being announced and everything and the visuals. But I was just like, oh, I can't believe that. So I sent the cardigan in and I checked, and of course I didn't place. I didn't win, nothing. Part of the thing was they would ship my project back to me. The box came. I opened it and verified that that's what it was, and I stuck it on a shelf in the basement in my like craft area because like I was so embarrassed and I felt so bad about the cardigan that I didn't even want to look at it. And it has literally been on my shelf in the basement for over a decade. And so through the years, I go down the basement to get stuff, and occasionally I'm looking around, I see the box, I'm like, oh, there's a box. Oh, it has the cardigan. Yeah, no. And like, I feel bad because the cardigan wasn't good. So that was 2012. And fast forward to summer of 2024, so 12 years later. So one of the things I like to do after one of the major trade shows is there's a group of designer friends of mine. We all get together and spend a day together afterwards to just kind of like decompress from the show floor and like talk about everything we saw and, catch up because we don't see each other in person that much. So one of the people at this gathering was the main woman who had helped volunteer for the design competition with the setup and everything. And we were sitting around chit-chatting and talking about like every random topic under the sun. And the Crochet Guild of America came up, CGOA, and the fact that she had, done the design competition. And she was sitting there talking, and she was like, yeah, it was a lot of work, and, this went well and that went well. And she was talking about the logistics of setting up the competition. And, I still remember that great cardigan you sent in. And I looked at her and I'm like, I'm sorry? And she's like, yeah, that cardigan you sent in that one time, that was gorgeous. I remember I was putting it up on like the mannequin, and it was anonymous for voting. So like, I was like, who designed this? The finishing was fabulous. And I looked afterwards and I saw it was you. And she said that, and I'm like, are you like, really? You're serious? Like, for the past 12 years, I have been living my life ashamed of that cardigan, with that box of cardigan shame in my basement. And she has been walking around for the past 12 years, occasionally remembering Lindsay made that gorgeous, beautiful cardigan. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, it blew my mind. And if you make anything, crocheted, knit, sewn, needlepoint, you know that when you're in the middle of the project, you're super, super focused, and you start really kind of judging your work. And you can get really down on yourself because you don't see it as being as wonderful as it really is. And what this experience has kind of reminded me about is, when I look at something I made, and when you look at something you made, it's very easy to focus on the one flaw or on the one problem and get stuck on this whole thing is horrible because of this one little issue. But there is someone else out there who will think your work is amazing and who knows that what you made is beautiful. And so I'm sharing this story with you because I kind of want to give you the reminder and the permission to remind yourself that the stuff you make is beautiful, even if it does have a mistake, even if it didn't turn out exactly 100% the way you wanted it, and to give yourself kind of permission to reframe your view of your work, so that when your brain starts popping up with that negative self-talk of like, I'm horrible at crochet because I made this and I made a mistake and it's got a wonky edge, reframe it as, I made something, and I made something beautiful, and it has a part of me in it, the part that was done exactly and the part that was flawed. And that is part of the beauty of handmade things. And that's part of the beauty that you can create.